Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and this is the Tier 10 Italian Collector Heavy, the Felice. This is the newest Tier 10 that has been released into the game, and it's an incredibly dangerous one at that. This vehicle features a 4-shell 440 auto-reloader. And it's got some big balancing factors. While it does do a lot of damage, it also has pretty terrible DPM. At most effective, you're going to be sitting at 2,250 damage per minute. So if you shoot 2-3 of your shells, you're going to be looking at 15 to 1,700 effective DPM. But on the flip side, this vehicle also has a lot of armor. It has really good gun depression, and because of that, it still allows the Felice to be insane. This was not as hard as I thought it was going to be, the 3 mark, to be entirely honest. I have 83 games in total on this vehicle, and I would say a good 15 of those were in Platoon with my friend, and Platoon games don't count towards your mark. So because of that, I marked this tank in about 65-ish battles, which is surprising because this vehicle has the highest gun mark XP at 290, just behind the 295 required to 3 mark the T95E6. But this tank's quite slow. It only achieves a top speed of 30. The E6 can go 50. And that means that this vehicle is obviously quite a bit less mobile, and it's going to be a lot harder to make game-changing plays in that regard. But in today's video, we're going to be going over some absolutely crazy gameplay in the Felice. We're going to start off with this battle on Yukon. Now, this game here was a solid game to get my gun mark up. We had some crazy battles. In fact, the second game you're going to watch in today's stream is probably the craziest battle I have played in a very, very long time in Blitz. And you'll definitely want to stick around to watch it. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not, because I feel like it would ruin some of the fun. But I had to try hard my butt to play some of these battles today and be able to 3 mark this tank. So what do we have up against us in this first game? We got an E100, IS-7, M6Yo, 7.52. Okay. The thing about the Felice is that you have to be in a game where the battle doesn't end immediately, right? If your game ends really, really quickly, you're going to be in a situation where you're not really able to do much. This tank really relies on long, drawn-out battles to deal a lot of damage. In fact, the highest damage I've dealt in this tank is only about 6,000. But I average around 3,600 in this tank, which is really good. It makes me like the second highest on the NA server in this thing. Damage on the NA server is really hard to come by. And in a vehicle like this, it's really hard to come by. But you can see I've already managed to deal 1,800 in this game. But oof, we've also bled half of our health. That's not great. And I definitely don't want to bleed more of my health, so I'm just trying to think of what I want to do. The IS-7's on my side with tungsten. I don't want to be shot by that, but because our Waffenträger backs up, I'm able to use my WT's death as my get out of jail free card and back into cover here. So we're going to aim it on the O. We got a bit of a lucky pen there for 460. And now we continue backing up again. Okay. Well, what I notice right now is the IS-7. And that's who I think needs to get out of this game. So let's push. See if we can get some damage into the IS-7. 2 more seconds, I'll have my shell loaded, so that's perfect. Here we go. And all 4 of my shells are in the barrel. So there's 468 into the IS-7. And, oh, look at that. An enemy Waffenträger. 572 into that player. And could have shot it, but I didn't want to risk it, especially because I only have 2 shells right now. And, yeah, you don't want to lose your shells, especially because our team isn't doing amazing. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to get most of my DPM back here. The moment you shoot your 3rd shell is when your DPM really gets bad. It goes from like 2,000 DPM on shell number 2 to like, I'm going to say 1,700 on shell 3. And then 1,500 on shell 4. So you're really, really, really hemorrhaging DPM the more you eat into the clip. And because of that, you don't want to waste your shells. You really don't. But at this point in time, we've already dealt 4,200 damage. I'm apparently a noob because I don't even know. I always find that funny. You get people in game chat that are like, you're a noob for, I don't know, killing you, I guess. Not really sure. But we get a pen into the 100, and the 100 shoots me. High rolls it, but I don't care. We get a second pen into the 100, and then I'm going to reload one more shot. Boom. A clearing shell, putting myself up to 5,000 damage and getting 3 kills. Overall, a really solid game for the Felice. You can definitely see where this tank is able to deal a lot. When you get these battles that aren't, you know, incredibly fast and you can actually get a decent amount of damage out, feels pretty nice. So our mark was at 91.34% in this game. But this next battle you're going to watch is truly a crazy one. This is on Port Bay. And, well, some context. The enemy STB is MJ55. He's one of the most skilled players on the NA server with 5 Twister Cup wins. Yeah. So this is a player who is very, very skilled at the game. And obviously going up against a player like that, not something that is necessarily fun. I told my Yag, by the way, I hope you get racked. For those of you that are missing the context, in the previous game I played, that Yag got in my way, and I got really pissed. So, yeah. But either way, skip ahead a little bit here so we can start looking at the 50B. We, get one shot, 430 damage, not bad. Now, I was hoping that my Yag Panzer was going to push, and they were going to have the 50B back up, right? Pretty common sense. Oh, look, a Yag's pushing me. Let me reverse. Well, that didn't actually happen. The Yag just shoots the 50B for 900. You know, sometimes I expect more, but oh well. We get our first kill of the game, and we're at 460 damage. We have the STB on our rear, and we're definitely in a bit of an awkward spot right now. We got a bunch of tanks all around us, but I know that most of my team is at base A, so I need to take advantage of that right now. The Błyskawica shoots, and dang it, my shell goes low. Okay, that's not good. I don't know what to do here. That Błyskawica is a really, really dangerous tank. Thankfully, we over-angle and get a bounce there, which is perfect. We're going to aim it on his vehicle, and there you go. We get a nice 374, but I don't know about this. Our Yag is completely caught out in the open. Bro is basically dead. I'm going to put on my speed boost and get the heck out of here. Let's see. What am I going to do? Well, we got the IS-7 over here. I'm going to turn my turret to the side. Boom. Get a clearing shell in the IS-7 as we cross, and now we've dealt 1,000 damage. There's still 5 tanks left on the enemy team, and that's our second kill of the game. Okay, well, I'm going to have to side scrape here because the Błyskawica is really dangerous. We get 1 pen into that player, and we're going to reload 2 pens into that player, 1,800 damage, and that is now our third kill of the game. You might start to notice a trend here in this battle. 3 kills, 3 tanks dead on the enemy team. We'll have to see if we can continue that. We got the enemy a Grill 15 in front of us, and I'm going to aim it on the grill, load a high explosive, boom, is 607, and the 2 and 5E takes his sweet time, dies. Okay, 4 kills, 2,600 damage, but this still isn't looking very good. We got a pretty healthy STB, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to get this STB out of the game now, because the Sheridan and 60 are going to kill my team. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to try and take this STB out. Sheridan's on my rear. I'm going to ignore the Sheridan, reload, and let's see, I'm going to try and track the STB. Okay, we don't get a track. We crit the track, but we don't get an actual penning track shot. The STB is going to leave and actually get stuck, so we're going to get another shell into the STB for 450 damage. I wish I had my shell there. I wish I had my final shell, because I could have killed that player. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to pretend like I have my shots. We're up to 3,500 damage now. Okay, let's see. Let's aim it on the Sheridan. Here we go. Aiming, aiming. Boom. Okay, there you go. Nice 423. And we're up to 4,000 damage. I have 4 kills on my plate right now, and there are 3 tanks left. So we are in the potential running for a 7-kill battle. Not only that, it's a 1 versus 3, and as I mentioned, we are up against one of the most skilled players in the entire server. So this is not as clear-cut and dry as you may think. And all of the tanks on the enemy team are quite scary. I mean, the STB, not too scary, but the Sheridan and 60 TP, 1 shot from both of those players, and my tank will be down quite a bit, you know? So I gotta be careful here. Now I'm thinking to myself, I want to get that STB. And I actually pre-aim where I think the STB is going to cross, which is right here. But I get screwed. The game tick rate does not detect the STB until he gets around the frickin' corner. What do I mean by tick rate? Well, basically, the amount of time, I'll pause it really quickly, the amount of time it took the server to let me know that that player was crossing was already too late. He was basically 90% into cover. I should have just slapped the fire button the moment he got spotted, but it's just whatever. I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to use my shells, especially when we now have the 60 on me. But that sucks. That really sucks. That was just a bad shot, but doesn't really matter because the 60's on reload. But notice how I just went from a lot of health to not a lot of health. We're going to aim in on the 60. There you go. We get a pen. STB bounces me. I'm going to back up. The STB hits me. We're up to 600 health now. You can see just how quickly you can go from really good to really bad, just like that. We've dealt 4,500 damage, and the Sheridan is still alive. And the enemy team's going up on base cap, 790. That's not good. Okay, well, I'm going to use this brick wall here as cover from the STB and hopefully cross. Okay, STB does detect me, but I need to try and take the Sheridan out. There's the Sheridan aiming, and ooh, we slap an HE into the turret of General Fish, taking them out of the game. 6 kills, 4,600 damage, a 1 versus 1. Me versus the STB. Now, I could have gone towards base C, but in a base cap battle, I will lose the game. So I've decided, screw it, I am going in, balls to the walls. Unfortunately, the STB gets detected through the crack there and slams the shell into my tank. I have 300 health. It's a 1 versus 1. Who's going to win the trade? Well, the STB slightly overpokes the track wheel, and we're able to get the clear. Whew! You can imagine how stressful this game was when I was actually in the battle. This game was a 5,000 damage, 1 versus 3, 7 kill crazy game. I do not have many Rosanais. I don't. I really do not. And being able to give myself a 7-kill game, one that I haven't gotten a 7-kill game in legitimately like a year, maybe 2 years. It's been a very long time since I can name the last one I've gotten. So being able to get another Rosanai feels amazing. Not only that, this game alone brought my markup 3.56% to 94.7%. I mean, look at how much XP we got, 1,700. So an absolutely crazy game for the Felice, and putting us up to a wild amount of XP. And that brings us to the final game that we needed to 3-mark the Felice on Canyon. This game was an interesting one, but you're going to see throughout the period of this game that we're able to we're able to have a really good one. But yeah, that game before was wild. It was absolutely wild. Now, of course, after I had that really good game, we then had a really mid game where I only did 1,700 damage, and because of that, my mark actually went down 0.8%. I managed to get 4 kills in that game, but as I said, my mark went down 0.8%. So we were sitting at around 93.8-ish% in this game here. So we needed to deal about 1.2% to raise our mark to the 3-mark level. So we have the enemy E6, and we get a pen into E6. Okay. My alpha of 440 rolls 400. His alpha of 400 rolls 440. Not a great start, but it's okay. I'm gonna continue climbing up the hill, and we got a lot of targets here. And not only that, but because I'm in mid, I'm spotting all of these players. So we're gonna get a bunch of assistance. We get a bounce, we pen the enemy Foch. There you go. Foch gets shot. I get more assistance for that. Got the K91. Not able to shoot that, though. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna reload. Again, you don't want to eat into your third shell. The moment you eat into the third shell, you're lower than 2k DPM, and you're going to start hemorrhaging damage. So, we're trying to be a little careful here. We got the enemy Type 71, which I do get a pen into, but I get shot by the Caro, get high rolled. Get shot by the K91, high rolled. I still have 1,550 health, so it's not like I'm low on HP, but I need to be a little bit more careful here, because if I start bleeding more health, I'm going to be in a bad spot. So we get a nice slap into the K91, tracking him and getting me more assistance. And we get another pen into the K91. We've assisted 2,000 damage, we've dealt 2,000 damage. You combine that, that's 4,400 assisted damage. Or combined damage in total. And that's already a good game. It's already a good game. I was a little annoyed at this Caro, by the way. But I was ignoring the Caro, and I was trying to deal damage. You can see just how hard this Caro wanted to shoot me every single time. Brother, leave me alone. We got the enemy Contra Caro on the flank. Okay. What are we going to do here? Well, I'm going to reload. There's my third shell. We got a couple more seconds left for my fourth shell to arrive. Another player gets cleared, and now I'm going to drive over the ridge. There's the enemy Caro leaving. Boom! 672 HE into the rear. That's got to hurt. K91. Boom! 482 into the side. 3,800 damage, just like that. We've got ourselves our first kill. I really wanted to get the clear on this Caro, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to. But that's fine. We got our third shell loaded just now, so I'm going to drive behind the enemy Contra Caro, and we're going to load an HE for 474. I guess in retrospect it didn't really matter, because, well, I fire a standard shell to kill him anyway after. But now we got the Type 71. 440 Alpha? Yes! 480 roll. That's 3 kills, 5,000 damage, and 2,150 assisted. If you add that together, that is 7,000 combined damage. Plus 3 kills. That is as good of a game as you can get. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised in this battle if we got similar XP to the game where we got 7 kills. We'll find out. It's not going to be as much, but I bet you we got a lot of XP in this game. So if we take a look at the post-game results, I did get my mark. We went up 1.3%, putting me to 95.19. And not only that, but we did a lot of damage. And if you take a look, you can see we got 1,500 XP, which is quite a bit. So I do really like the Felice. I'm glad that I picked it up on my main account. It's an absolutely fantastic tier 10, and it's probably one of my favorite tier 10s, but it's also a vehicle that's very slow and very balanced by its mobility. While I do consider the Felice in a skilled player's hands to be incredibly OP, I think in a player's hands that isn't very good, the Felice is more you know, because it's not mobile enough to really be that scary. While it does have a lot of shells, the moment you dump those shells, you're basically out of the game for like a minute, so it is something to keep in mind. Either way, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.